we here to talk. So basically, we had talked about Scottie Beam and Joe Budden. Wasn't gonna cover it. She first came out because Joe never says nothing about Diddy. When his house got raided, got raided, and he never says nothing. If you don't know, Joe Budden and Scottie Beam worked on the show State of the Culture on Revolt. This was around the time, I believe, when Joe Budden left State of Everyday Struggle on Complex, and he had his own thing on Revolt. You know, it was him, Scottie Beam, Remy Ma, and I was bro named Chinks or Jinx. I think his name was Jinx. But yeah, and they had their little show or whatever, and it didn't pan out, and it was what it was, and the show stopped going on, and he was just doing his little podcast, and he's got other gigs. You know, at the time he had his podcast to pull up, and yeah, he was doing various things. So, but now with that being said, apparently she fired back. He had some words to say about her on his podcast, which is probably in this article, which we will touch on. So I thought that would be the end of it. Now these two people used to work together. Maybe they didn't get along. You don't always like the person you work with, yada, yada, yada. So I'm thinking, oh, they're just going to have their little discourse and we'll leave it alone. But apparently she fired the fuck back, and I was like, okay, all right, we're going to talk about it now. All right. I was going to leave it alone, but we're going to talk about it. So, oh, no. This is not, because she fired back. I don't want this one. I guess it gave me, the first iteration of it. I don't want this one. Basically, this is, or maybe I should read this, but it's going to be in the other one, because basically she had a response to what he said on the podcast, which probably what he said will be in the newer one as well. Yeah, here's the one I wanted. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. Wasted a little bit of your time. But anyways, Scottie Beam calls Joe Budden a lying coke whore after slamming him for Diddy silence. Scottie Beam also put Joe Budden on blast for his inappropriate and aggressive behavior on set. Let's talk. So earlier this week, 2 of Diddy's mansions were raided by Homeland Security as part of a federal human trafficking investigation. As a result, countless social media users and peers have been sharing their takes on the debacle online over the past few days. Scottie Beam, for example, took to Twitter/X to call out Joe Budden for seemingly failing to address the raids. She also took the opportunity to put him on blast for his previous controversial takes. LMFAO N-word was gonna beat me up for not calling Jesse a F-word. You know what I'm saying? You know the F-word I'm referring to, the not nice one, when he didn't have all the info. But Homeland Security at his homie house, and it's quiet, she wrote. Shortly after her post, Budden responded and didn't hold back in the slightest. Quote, "Why would I be expected to make a remark about anything Puff related 2-3 hours after it transpired? That's foolishness," he said. "And I think some of the bitterness from Shorty comes from whatever transpired during our time at Revolt. One," this is what Joe Budden says, "I fired you for all those reasons that I just named, and I'm sick of a good black successful man getting their backs kicked in by regurgitative Twitter." Sorry. Now, Scottie Beam has fired back with full force, accusing Joe Budden of lying, using drugs, and more. So, this is what Scottie Beam says. "Lying is insane, but expected from a drug addict, especially when Andre Harrell called to apologize on your behalf for your inappropriate, aggressive actions with me on set, and that's why I left. Clean it up, coke whore." We'll see. We'll see if he replies to this anyways. Clearly, Scottie Beam is fed up, and only time will tell if Joe Budden decides to respond again. Okay. Now, I do feel like part of the animosity they do have is because of whatever transpired on State of the Culture when they were filming. I don't know if Joe was disrespectful, he was too head-ass, he was too hard on her. I will say this again, I've never met Joe Budden a day in my life, but I could tell this nigga has some narcissistic traits. I would not be surprised. And maybe he's not best. Like, every person is different. You might talk to maybe a Flip or a Ish a certain way and they receive it and understand it, but doesn't mean you could talk to a Scottie Beam or somebody else a specific way. And it doesn't look good, especially after when you had, see, the thing is, even though they're going through their nonsense right now, the breakup with Mandy and Bridget, but when Olivia Dope was on the show, and apparently there was some inappropriate stuff that happened on the show between you and Olivia Dope, which maybe was part of the reason she exited the show. And then yeah, it doesn't look good you going after another old co-host, if you will. As well, I don't know if he still got beef with Nadeska too. I remember that was going on that. I don't know if he got issues with her or whatever have you. Or is they cool? I don't understand. But yeah, there was a little thing there with him and Nadeska. I hope they cool. Because I love that squad of him, Nadeska, and the academics on Everyday Struggle. That was a nice little squad. I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, just me. But yeah, it ain't looking good with your track record, my G. With all like certain people certain women you have worked with having beef with you, and then Marty Marissa, who was like on the very first iteration of the Joe Budden podcast, and y'all had a little bit of a falling out. I don't know if y'all cool now. So yeah, it doesn't help as well. I do feel like some of the tension is from there. Maybe the way you carried yourself or spoke to her. But as well as I do kind of see Joe's point in the sense of, see, this is the thing though. As much as I could see Joe like, yo, it just happened. Like, why the fuck do I gotta talk about something when it just happened? It's like, bro, when that initial shit first came out, bro, you put the episode on Patreon. You kind of like changed up the way you were speaking about it, bro. That was the fucking narrative. The narrative did not come out about nowhere about Joe Budden doesn't want to talk about Puff. It came out because when that shit happened, we're like, oh shit, yeah, Joe, you gotta give it up. You gotta talk about this shit. Like, yo, that shit crazy as hell. And you didn't really get shit. Ice gave it up more than you. To keep it a buck. Ice gave it up more than you. Keep it a buck. Yes, maybe you know the nigga, you have some business dealings, yada yada yada. I understand that it's a tricky situation. But like when it comes to morals and shit, like at some point, you know what I'm saying? Like, gang, as much as, yeah, you might fuck with the nigga, you been around the nigga, you cool with the nigga. But like, and I get it, y'all is like celebrities and shit, motherfuckers in your face all day. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. Any little thing could be spun out of proportion. But like, bro, if the nigga kind of doing some fuck shit, you gotta talk about it, bro. Like, I'm not saying have the same energy you have for Jussie Smollett. You could talk with it with a little bit more grace. But it did look away when you were just fucking mute about it. The only ones that were giving it up at the time was like academics. Keep it a buck. He was like the only nigga that was really giving it up. It was what it was at that point. And niggas called you up. And then you did that other episode where y'all properly talked about it on your regular podcast. Because the other time y'all put it behind the paywall and you also had that Drake shit when you didn't really talk about it. It's like, all right, gang. So it's not like the narrative didn't come out of nowhere. You kind of helped the narrative start. So you do have to take some blame for that. But again, bro, I feel like majority of their issues is from the State of the Culture show. And we'll see if Joe Budden does respond to this. But yeah, besides that, bro, hopefully this, flies by, bro. Yo, everybody be killing Joe Budden. I ain't gonna lie. This nigga, bro, hey. Like, he has friends, but he also has enemies. You start to realize that, like, damn, niggas really don't fuck. This nigga did some shit. But hey, what do y'all feel? Y'all feel like this back and forth between him and Scottie Beam's gonna continue, or are we just gonna get this now and we won't really hear about it again unless like Scottie Beam starts a podcast and she goes on the podcast and starts talking wild about Brody. But besides that, hey, what do y'all feel? Comments down below, links in the description. Besides all this, your friendly neighborhood K.A. signing off for today. The Black TJ that while they're doing the same. My name ring bells like Quasimodo. Hit like, subscribe, try to hear a little bit more to hear me. And I'm going Slimes on Peace, gang. Aye.